Do you wanna know how to do your full face of makeup in 15 minutes, but you want it to look like it took 30? Follow along and I'll show you how I create my 15-minute makeup look. Trust the process though, because it doesn't look pretty, but just wait to the end. Okay, so this is gonna take me longer than 15 minutes because I'm explaining step by step on what I'm doing. So it's gonna take longer, but when you do it yourself, it should take 15 minutes or less. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is I like to prep my skin with a little bit of Milky toner. This just helps to kind of wake up the face, give you a little bit more hydration, give your face a little bit of a nice, bouncy foundation before you apply your primer and your foundation. Honestly, ever since Shelby Ann introduced me to a Milky toner, I'm like, oh my God, this totally makes a difference when you are applying your makeup. You can literally just apply it with your hands, just like how I did it. Okay, and you're gonna let that cool down. All right, now I'm gonna go in with a little bit of illuminator from Saie. Okay, I'm just gonna do 2 little drops, and this is in the color Roseglow. And I like doing this because it gives you like a blurring and also a little bit of an extra glow before you apply your foundation. It's very lightweight, it's not sticky. Again, you can apply that with your hands. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with Hourglass Veil. So I'm normal to oily, so I'm gonna make sure that I control the oil on my face. And this particular primer minimizes pores. So if you have large pores, this will help. And it gives you more of a blurring as well. So I just literally put this right on my T-zone to control the oil. Just like this. The key to beautiful makeup is beautiful skin. So prepping your skin is very important. Unless you have like baby booty skin and no flaw, then you can get away with a couple of products. But when you don't have like super perfection skin, prepping is so important. And like literally this is raw. Like this is all of my pigmentation and breakouts. So this is real life, guys. Okay, so now I am going to go in with a brow gel. So I love the L'Oreal Brow Lamination 24 Hours. This is great. And I already applied some of this in the morning because I cannot live without just combing out my brows and making them look very clean and full. So I just apply a little bit, and I also apply it going upward because I want to create the natural shape of my brows if they were perfect, okay? Because if you wake up, your brows are gonna not be combed, they're gonna be a little bit low, some are gonna be high, so you wanna make sure that you just comb your brow hairs all the way, and any brow hairs that are sticking up, you just wanna lightly tame them down, just the ones that are sticking up, because you still want that effect of a natural like lift, like a natural brow lamination, okay? I do that first because I like my brows to dry as I'm like doing my foundation. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the Kylie Skin Tint that I'm obsessed with. I'm in the shade 6W, and I normally like to apply foundation with this Morphe M439, but I don't know if they even sell this anymore because I can't find it. But I got you because e.l.f. has a little buffing foundation brush that is so cost effective. I think it's like $8. So that is a little alternative for you. So this skin tint is actually a foundation, but it wears like a tinted moisturizer, but a step above. So it has a little bit more coverage. It has like, it's a light to medium buildable skin tint, okay? So I am just gonna apply some here. And if you have normal, dry, combo, like however your skin type is, you can use this. It's meant for all skin types. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply it on areas that I'm mostly, like, where it mostly needs a little bit of love. So my breakout areas are here on my cheeks. So that is where I start when I apply my foundation. And I'm kind of doing like a pressing motion and a tiny bit of dragging because I want to make sure that I drag it all the way down to my neck because we do not want any harsh lines. I love personally to use a brush when applying foundation. I feel like you can get the best coverage and more control of application. I'm not applying anything underneath my eyes, okay guys? And I'm applying a little bit more. So this is what I mean. It's like light to medium coverage. And if you want a little bit more of coverage, you can go back and apply in those areas that need a little bit more love. So I'm gonna apply some here on the little areas.
By the way, thank you Creative Beauty Co for sponsoring this video. If you are in the Arizona area and you are wanting to know how to do makeup on yourself, I offer private one-on-one hands-on makeup lessons as well as master classes for aspiring makeup artists and makeup artists. Or if you are just needing an artist for special events or your special wedding day, I am your girl. Hit the link below to contact me.
Okay, so in areas that need a little bit more coverage, so you are just pressing it in to those areas that need a little bit more coverage. Here, I don't really, whatever's left over on my brush, this is where I barely apply any because fine lines will appear and you do not want your makeup to sit into those fine lines. I'm gonna use a tiny bit more just to apply it on my forehead. And I like to get literally right where my hairline is, around my eyebrows. I'm literally showing you guys what I do when I do my 15-minute makeup look. Okay. Now after doing that, I'm gonna go in with some concealer. I'm gonna go in with the NARS Radiant Concealer. I love this concealer, very hydrating. It's a medium buildable concealer. And I don't have a lot of pigmentation underneath my eyes. And so I don't really need to apply a concealer that's darker than my shade to color correct. So I just kind of go in with a lighter shade because I personally love a bright under eye. And then whatever's left over on my little spoolie, I'm gonna make a little line right in the center of my nose, and then whatever's left over, apply it on the center of my forehead. I'm gonna use a Paw sponge, which looks like this. It's so squishy, so bouncy. I love to apply my concealer with a sponge. I just find that it blends so much better. So I'm just gonna start by pressing it in, right in here. The reason why I apply concealer right on the inner and a little bit on the outer is because this is where coverage is mostly needed. And whatever is left over, right? So as you can see, most product is here. Whatever is left over will just be dragged down into this little area, because that is where, like right in here, we do not want to accentuate the fine lines. So I kind of skip over that little part there. So it looks just like this. And then I'm gonna do the other side. So this concealer is so great because it's not mattifying, it's hydrating, it covers really well. And I find that no matter how old you are, you can use this concealer. It's great. I have been using this for like, oh my God, I don't know, like 7 years now. Every time I try a new concealer, I just always end up going back to this one. Okay, So see how it just kind of brightens up the face just a little bit? Okay, now for the nose, I'm just gonna press it in. I'm not going side by side because I want that little thin line to really be visible. And when you are in the middle of your eyebrows, you wanna make sure that you go right in between both sides because you don't want that harsh line right in the middle of your eyebrows. Just like so. And now I am going to blend it on the center of my forehead, just so I won't have just a glob of light concealer right there. I wanna make sure that I blend it out. Okay. Now, after doing that, I'm gonna go in with cream blush. I love blush. I feel like blush makes you look so youthful and it just brings so much life to the skin. So I make sure that I use a cream blush. So I'm using the Morphe Trios. This one is called Cheek Thrills. And it actually is a cream, a powder, and a highlighter. So it's 3-in-1, so you don't have to pack different options. This is it. And I love using this Morphe brush here, 47. It's kind of like flat, and I love it because it works so great when applying any creams, like cream bronzer, cream blush. So I'm gonna pick up some cream blush, and I'm just working with creams right now because I have my foundation, I have my concealer. I'm not going in with powders just yet. Okay, so now I am going to apply it on the high points of my face. I have a more round face, so I wanna make sure that we lift upward. And when applying your blush, I like to press it in, and you just grab a little bit at a time because it is easier to add, but it's harder to remove. So you grab a little bit at a time and you just start pressing it all the way up to the sides of your face, just like this. And I kind of stop like in the middle of like right where your pupil is, like right in the center. This is where I stop. And you're probably wondering, like, why are you using a cream blush? Can I just use powder brush? And you totally can, but this will actually have a longer wear claim, and I feel like it looks more alive, like your blush looks more pigmented, it looks more dewy, and it looks more like skin rather than just powder being slapped on your face. So I always love to apply a cream blush before my powder. Okay, don't be afraid to put on blush, guys. Blush is the first thing to go when you are out and about and you're wearing your makeup, so don't be afraid to apply a good layer. Okay, a little bit at a time. You guys saw how many times I literally picked it up. Okay. And I just kind of put a little bit on my chin, a little bit on my nose, a little bit on my forehead, just to give you a little color. Okay, so now after doing that, I'm just gonna go in with my concealer again, and I'm just gonna dab a little bit on the inner corner with my Paw sponge. And I am going to really focus on pressing it in my inner corner right here and blending it back to my blush so it looks like they're marrying each other and there's no harsh line where the blush is. You want to make sure that your makeup looks seamless and blended. Okay, so after doing that, you're done applying all your creams. So now we are going to set it and forget it. So I'm going to use the L'Oreal Infallible Loose Powder. I love this powder. This is in the color, I think this is bright pink. What color is this? Oh, pink light. And this little package has just a little bit of holes in there, and I'm like, come on, let's put a little bit more so we can get more product out of here. That's my only complaint. Other than that, it's freaking amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna use a little puff from Amazon. Literally, you can get like a 10-pack for like $8. And I'm gonna pick some up and I'm gonna melt it on the back of my hand, just like this. And I'm gonna press it right on the inner corner of where I applied the concealer. Just like this. And then whatever's left over, I just set around my mouth because again, less product around the smile lines. And I even go on my nose, a little bit on my forehead. So then after doing that, I like to go in with a Mineralize Skinfinish powder from MAC, and this is in the color medium golden. So this powder actually melts into the skin and it doesn't make you look really matte, really dry. It just makes your skin look very healthy. So even if you are dry, you can totally use this powder. This just really helps to set your makeup in place, because if you just use creams, your makeup's not gonna last that long. It's gonna slide right off. You're gonna sweat, the heat, the time, it's gonna eventually come off. So you wanna make sure that you always set your makeup. So I'm gonna use the exact same puff that I used for my under eye, and I am just gonna grab a good amount and start pressing it onto my skin. And even in areas where my cheek is, where I have like a couple blemishes, go over it with the powder. It's totally okay, because we're gonna go over it with powdered blush. So you just wanna make sure that you set it in all of the places and give yourself a little bit more coverage in those areas too. That's why I like this little puff with powder, because you can actually give yourself a fuller coverage rather than using a powder brush. A little bit on the sides, a little bit on the forehead. Okay. Now, I'm gonna go in with powder bronzer. So I'm gonna go in with Charlotte Tilbury 3 Tan, and I'm gonna use Patrick Tall. It's a duo-sided brush for contour 2. That's the name of it. And I'm gonna use the angled brush, and I'm just gonna make sure that I even it out on my brush here. Make sure that the whole brush is coated. And I'm going to press it onto the sides of my face. And I'm starting at the very high point. So like where my ear is here, okay? I'm gonna place it right there and drag down. Not too down, because we wanna lift the face. So we're just gonna go midway. We're blending exactly where we applied the bronzer, well, a little bit right underneath it. And we're blending them together. This is just gonna give me a little color on the face. I'm gonna pick some up, and I'm also gonna literally press it into my hairline. I like using this brush because it's not so, it doesn't pick up a lot of product where it just stays in one place. Like it makes your bronzer or blush look a little bit more airbrushed because it's so fluffy. So it looks more natural on the face. The reason why I do this, like literally in my hairline, is because I want it to look like the sun literally kissed my face. And you don't want to see like your skin being two different colors than the bronzer or your foundation. So you want to make sure that you just blend it seamlessly. Okay, so now after doing the forehead and your sides of the face, I'm gonna go into the jawline. I'm doing a number 3. At the end of the day, when everything's done, it's kind of like a 3. This is where your bronzer should be. Right in here, it's like a 3 and an E. So you have color in all the right places rather than you trying to put bronzer everywhere, then you end up looking like an Oompa Loompa. So you just wanna make sure that you even out everything. I love bronzer. It totally slims down the face a little bit in a natural way, because this is kind of like a natural contour. I'm not gonna go in with a cream contour stick or something cooler that you see a lot of people use. I like using something that is more of a warm tone to make it look like I have a natural tan from the sun and still place it in places where it gives you a natural contour. So that's my little hacky hack for this 15-minute look. Okay, so now I'm gonna use a little brush. This is a 286 from MAC. This is a crease brush. I'm gonna pick some up and I'm gonna start from the tip of my eyebrow and go all the way down. So right now I'm just going on the sides of where I applied the concealer. I don't want my nose contour to be super, super noticeable. So using a powder to do this totally helps. Okay, then I'm gonna grab some more and I'm gonna literally pop this on my entire lid and even my crease, just like this. On my crease, right underneath my eyebrow, just like that. Don't be afraid to go in. I'm just gonna make sure that everything is coated because I don't have time to do my eyeshadow, but I want it to look like I have an illusion of, ooh, she has a little shadow on. And I even drag it down to the sides of my eye. Just a little something, something. Okay, then I'm gonna grab a smaller brush, which looks like this. This is a 239 from MAC, and I'm gonna pick some up, and I'm gonna put it right underneath my lash line. And if I go a little bit lower, so let me slow down for you. Pick some up and put it right underneath, right underneath your waterline. Then after you spread it everywhere, whatever's left over, I start dragging it just a little bit because it gives you an illusion that it's blending in with your fine lines, so they're not super noticeable. Do you see the difference? So I'm gonna pick some up and do it on the other side. Just like so. And then you blend it down just a tiny bit. Then, after using all of the bronzer, I'm gonna go back in with the Morphe Trio, and I'm gonna pick up the powder blush. And again, you wanna make sure that it's evenly spread out on your brush. And I'm just gonna go right on top of where the cream blush is. Like I'm literally gonna dab it right on top. Pretty it is. It looks so much more pigmented rather than just using a regular powder blush or even just the regular cream blush. I'm telling you, blush is your best friend. Don't be afraid of it. I know I'm gonna look like a huge rose right now, but it's okay. It will all blend in. Don't be afraid to go upward. And if you're not really like a really big blush fan, you don't have to put on this much. You can just dab on a little bit just to set whatever cream blush you used. And if you want to, you can use this little highlighter in here and you just put it, I'm gonna kind of melt it onto the palm of my hand first before applying it, right in here. Right where your bone is, where your cheeks are, you're gonna press it in with your hand or your finger just to kind of melt it in there and give you like a really pretty glow. Just like that. So do you see how it kind of just gives you like a little pretty glow, nothing overbearing, nothing chunky. It's not like a chunky glitter. And I'm just pressing it in. Just right on top of that. And maybe just like a little bit on the center of the nose. You could even dab whatever's left over on the sides of your face, just like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with some eyebrows. So now that your eyebrows have totally dried down from your brow gel, I'm gonna go in with Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I love these brow pencils. This brush is pretty tough, so you can really help to blend out any areas that you maybe applied a little bit too much product in. So I love how sturdy it is. It's not like dingy in any way. And I love how the point is really small, so you could really create little feathers of hair just in case you have any missing. And before I apply it onto my face, I like to write on a flat surface, so you could like literally like apply it on your mirror if you want, or anything that you have that's a flat surface, you can literally just write on it, so then the point can be really flat. So when you apply it, you have a very crisp application. So I'm gonna start off by applying this product exactly where my natural brow hair is, okay? Right where my first brow hair is, I'm gonna lightly make a little line starting from there. And it doesn't matter if you have hair missing there, still make that line, because you want to make sure that it is one length, okay? So you start the line there and you go all the way across very lightly. And if you went too harshly, just like how you saw me do, you can literally just use your spoolie to comb upward, okay? And right in here, I am so glad my eyebrows are not done, so I can show you realistically what you can do to shape them, to make them look really clean when they're not fully perfectly threaded or waxed, okay? So I'm gonna follow my natural brow shape as if every hair was intact and there was no hair down here, okay? So you're gonna follow that line all the way through. Now I'm kind of going into more like sparse of an application, if that makes sense. Like I'm literally just like stroking the brush into making small hairs, going all the way down to the very end and meeting where my end of eye and tail will meet, okay? Then I'm gonna go on the top, I'm gonna put my head down, and I am going to see where I can apply my pencil to create that perfect shape. So again, even if you have hair missing, it's totally okay, because I'm gonna start in the middle of the eyebrow, not the front. Unless you have a lot of hair missing here, we are not gonna focus on putting product here. If you have a lot of hair missing, you can just do light strokes, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. But I'm gonna start in the middle of my eyebrow, very light strokes on the top, and I am going to meet it where the end of my line is, just like that. And I'm gonna comb my brow hairs upward, and I wanna make sure that you can see that everything is going the same direction and there's no empty gaps. Because if you do your brow like this and you're just creating the line, if you go down or in pictures, if you take pictures or if you're looking down, you will be able to see that you have missing hairs or you missed a spot with your brow pencil. So I always look down when doing this part. Okay, now it's gonna come down to the front now. So if you have missing hair, you're gonna do very light strokes in the front to mimic hairs. Very lightly. It can get really strong on here with brows if you really press your eyebrow pencil really hard, okay? So after doing that, I'm gonna go in with the other one, okay? So I'm gonna start again where my natural brow hair is, and I'm gonna make a line all the way through, making sure it's the exact same length, okay? And here's a tip. When you start on the other eyebrow, you take a step back and you tilt your head upward to see if they're going the same direction. Because sometimes one eyebrow can be really high, one can be really low. So you wanna make them look like they are related, not twins, but you want them to look like sisters. So you just wanna make sure that they're going the exact same direction. Okay, now after doing that, again, light strokes and going all the way down to the very end, just like that. Then I'm gonna go on the top, midway, and I am going to do little light strokes and shaping it right till the end. And when I'm doing this, I'm like inside of the hair. I'm not like on my skin creating like a false brow. I'm just creating the most perfect brow shape that fits you, that your brows naturally have if every hair was intact, okay? Then I'm gonna go towards the front and start applying little brush strokes, okay? Make sure you're looking down, that you filled every area, just like this. Okay. Now, I'm gonna go in with a brow gel that actually has color, and this is Benefit. I love these brow gels because it has color. The brush is so small. Even though I already have brow gel on, I like to apply this one because it has a little bit of color to give me a little bit more fullness. So I always start at the very end. Wherever you pick up your product and place first, that is where most product will be. So you don't want to pick up the product and go directly in the front because then you'll have like a glob of product. So I always start at the very end, and then whatever is left over, I start lifting towards the front. Just like that, just to kind of fill in the brow a little bit, give it a little bit more color. And the same thing on this side. So now for my favorite part, I love to highlight right underneath my eyebrow to kind of clean it up, give you a natural brow highlight, a natural brow lift rather than using an eyeshadow. It just makes your brows look a lot more cleaner. And I'm using the NW25 Studio Finish Concealer, and I'm using a really small brush, 231 from MAC as well. If you don't know me by now, you know that I worked at MAC for 5 years, and there are certain staples that I cannot run away from because they are still legit and they still work. So these are some items that I will never stop using. So I'm gonna use a very small brush, and I'm gonna pick up just a little bit on both sides of my brush, and then I'm gonna apply it on both sides to make sure that I have a good amount on both sides. And I'm gonna start midway from my eyebrow, and I am going to trace right underneath my eyebrow. I'm not really touching any of the pencil or the brow gel. I'm starting midway and going all the way down till I hit the end of my eyebrow, and I'm just grabbing my finger to kind of melt it in place. And it just kind of helps to give you more of a precise shape, even if your brows aren't done. It just makes your shape stand out a little bit more. Same thing on this side, midway. And I'm kind of doing very slow, long strokes because you gotta be very careful not to make a mistake and go over where you use the brow pencil and gel, because then they can start looking funny, and you do not want it to look weird. You want it to look like it's blending beautifully and as natural as possible. So I grab my finger and just kind of melt it into place, just like this. Okay, after the brows are done, you're gonna feel like you look like a dang caterpillar is crawling on your face because it's so much, because you don't have any mascara, any lashes, any liner, but don't you worry, it will all come together. So remember that brush, that crease brush that I was using for my nose contour and also for my eyes. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit more, and I am going to diffuse the front of my eyebrow because I do not want it to look really boxy or too perfected. I just want it to look very seamless and not so harsh. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit right in here to diffuse it. Just a tiny bit. And then whatever's left over, just drag it down to your nose now I'm gonna show you a little tip that truly changes the game. So if you're gonna just curl your lashes and apply mascara, or if you're gonna put on lashes, you wanna make sure that you tightline. And what tightline means is you use an eyeliner and you apply it right inside of your waterline, inside here, okay? So the reason why I like to do this is because it makes your eyelashes look darker and you don't see the skin right underneath when you're looking straight on. It just makes it look a lot fuller. This does tickle a little bit, guys, but it totally makes a huge difference. Okay, so now you could curl your lashes and apply some mascara, or you can actually physically throw on some lashes, which I will do that, so I'll be right back. All right, I am back. I applied some mascara and some lashes, and do you see such a difference that it made? Again, if you don't like wearing lashes, you don't have to do this, but it just totally elevates everything. The brows don't look super crazy now because it's now balanced out. So to finish off this look, I'm gonna apply a lip combo that I am loving at the moment, and this is from Maybelline. This is in the shade On It. So pretty, so creamy. And I'm just gonna line my lips with this first. I really like to focus on the Cupid's bow. Because it makes your lips look a lot powderier, and even right underneath here. It doesn't have to be super perfect. Okay, I'm gonna go in with MAC Modesty. It melted in my car, guys. This is how hot it is in Arizona, okay? It melted my lipstick. And I'm just gonna put it right in the center. This is a really pretty, like, nudie pink. Okay, then I'm gonna use the Maybelline Gloss. Love this. I think this is called the Lifter Gloss, yep. And this is in the shade Opal. And I'm just gonna apply it right in the center. Right on the center, because it gives you a little natural pout. I even put some like right above the Cupid's bow. That's why I said, don't even worry if your Cupid's bow is not perfect, because we're gonna go over it with a little gloss and it's gonna totally camouflage it. And there you have it. You can apply a little bit more blush, because, I mean, or you don't have to, but I love blush, so I always apply a little bit more because it's the first to go, like I mentioned before. And literally, this is my everyday 15-minute look that looks like I took the time to do this, when really, well, it seemed like I took forever because I gave you guys step by step, but I promise you, time yourself. It should take you 15 minutes or less. Set this bad boy. One size. One size, I need the bottle. We can't waste any. Okay, what do you guys think? I hope that you guys loved it and you weren't overwhelmed, because it takes practice and you do what fits you best and what you're comfortable with. So try out my 15-minute look and let me know in the comments below how it worked for you.